Hello, my name is Ethan Condon. I'm taking a video game development class in Gull Lake High School. And today we're going to be going over week 3 of my progress in Unity Essentials. So we're going to start off where we left off first. In Audio Essentials, I had this sprint task list finished last, and this and my other backlogs didn't have anything in them yet. And recently, after finishing Audio Essentials, I moved on to Programming Essentials, and I went through the entirety of this, and now I'm working on 2D Essentials, and I've only just started it. And we'll be going over the whole process that I went through and what I learned in these little tutorials. Alright, so first we're going to go over the whole history of my commits in Unity, or not Unity, GitHub. Comes from Unity. This merges from the main here because I had to merge it in order to get the get ignore on everything without having to type it in every time. So there's going to be extra things in here, but we get programming essentials, adding a movement script, create a rotating collectible. We'll go over it in a second here. And then this one, 2D Essentials, it's kind of like the same thing, but we got a couple more dates because, I didn't finish everything on one day. And setting up a 2D room is the most recent thing I did so far. Alright, so an issue I've been having, just a little clarification, an issue I've been having in Unity is whenever I check out a commit on GitHub, it won't pull the checkout committed files down to the Unity, it won't load it in. In other words, so if I try to commit to something, or not commit, but switch to a commit that I made 4 days ago, you can see all the changes here that have been technically made. It just doesn't add it to Unity, so there should be like this kitchen layout with like this Roomba thing, but as you can see, it's just a 2D background from stuff I did way before this, or way after this. Alright, so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over everything I need to, we'll fix that in a second. I'll go over everything that I learned instead of checking out the commits, because it won't let me check out the commits and move from there. Alright, so we're going to work backwards here from what I did last, and we're going to go down to Programming Essentials from there. So with what I did recently, we're working on a 2D game, obviously 2D Essentials. And with this, what I've done is I've used a provided script, which is Player Controller 2D. You can see down here, this thing can make it larger. I used that and I connected it to the player, so that gives controls, WASD, whatever you want to call it, controls, to move around. And I can change the speed, and I can select if it can move diagonally or not. So it can no longer move diagonally, when I click that on, it'll be able to. Fun stuff. And then I can set the speed. We could do it to like 1. That's really slow. We could do like 10, because why not? And it's zoomy fast. Another thing we did with this was we added these, I guess you could call it a sprite, is what they label it as, but it's a square. And I enlarged it with this rect thing. It's called rect. I think it's right here, the rect tool. And I added a box collider to it. And with that, I also added a circle collider to this little UFO dude, little alien UFO thing. Thought that was fun. So what that does is when I go into a wall, it'll stop me. So you'll see in a second here. As I start the game up, it might take a second. It won't move past this. I'm holding W right now, it won't do anything. I can hold that, I can hold this. It won't move because there's a collider and there's pre-made physics for the game that they code in for us. And then we also added this rigid body thing, the rigid body 2D, just so it can move. And if we'll see if I can do this, if I can show you. If I just remove it, what it'll do is it won't move, it'll turn, but it won't move. And if I add it back really quickly here, rigid body 2D, and we changed the gravity scale to 0 because we don't want it to fall. It's supposed to be on flat ground right there. The little background is the ground, and those white things are walls, so you can see labeled here, room wall or whatever. And hold on, give me a second. Alright, so what I did was I accidentally added the rigid body to the background, and I didn't want to do that, and I messed up a little bit there, so now it should be working. We'll see if it tries to mess with me again. There we go. Alright, and we're back to working again. Easy stuff. Alright, and this was all the tutorials we went over in all the tutorial sections, I guess you could call it. We went over programming essentials. So adding a movement script, it's kind of like the player controlled 2D thing. Um, it's a preset script for everything for that, so it'll be just the same. You drag it onto the character, and it adds on the script that was pre-made. And then creating a simple rotating object. I can get to that in a second here. Alright, so I'm just going to go over, I'm not going to code anything, I'll just go over what we did, just to make it a little easier, make the video a little shorter because it doesn't need to be long. So what we did was we went into Unity Essentials, the folder, and we went into scripts, and they got this folder for provided scripts. What we can do is we can go to create and add a mono behavior script, and I'm going to call it collectible. As you can see here, collectible script. Double click it. It'll open up these notes, and you got a void start and void update. Yeah. Now this start function is like on start, it'll do this, it'll do that, and this update thing is every time the game updates, which is 30 to 60 frames per second, it'll do something to the object. So you could set its rotation to like, if blank, then rotate this or whatever. It's working in code. So I don't know if you could see it here, but I'm kind of rotating my mouse around it. It's transform.rotate 0, 1, 0, and then the semicolon. And since it's on every update, it'll change the y-axis, because that's y-axis, x, y, z. It'll change the y-axis by 1 every update. And that'll make it spin pretty fast, because 30 to 60 times per second is, that's pretty fast if you're asking me. So they addressed this in the second part where you can change it to 0.5. I don't know what the F there is for, but just change it to 0.5 and it'll lower it. And then this next one is changing that scripted thing into something you get to change on Unity itself. So you get to go into the inspector, click on the object, and you'll be able to see all these things, all these little things that'll allow you to change like the speed at which it rotates and how high it is and all that. And then we'll just quickly go over the last thing I did. So there's a little stuff here. What we're trying to do here is collect the collectible. So you add a collider component and enable the trigger property. So we'll show you that. So I can't do it with this because this is all 2D, but in theory, what you would do is you go to box collider, you click box collider, and you set it to an is trigger property. And what you do in the code is you say on trigger, it'll delete this object and it'll play this effect to it. So there'd be like this sort of like blast effect looking thing when you run over the object. You can see the particle effect thing here, and if we go back, you can see, let's see where it is. Destroy the collectible, destroy game object. So when you run over it, it'll just disappear. Fun stuff. And after that, it was just Control D, which is a duplicate thing, so it'll duplicate all the code and everything that you put on that object and place it wherever you want, and make a cool, like, little maze-looking thing with, whatever scene you're looking for, whatever character you have. And that's about all I've learned. So right now what I'm looking forward to is getting through 2D Essentials, because I think that'd be really fun to figure out how to make a 2D game in this. So it's a 2D puzzle game, add an animated pet, all these fun stuff, all these fun things. And then we're going to head to Publishing Essentials, which is the last thing, and publish it to my portfolio. So thank you for watching. Check out my other videos if you want, and feel free to hit the like button and subscribe if you really want.